When growing up, you kind of go through a generation of anime that is somewhat delimited, that everyone around you knows about. I don't really know how this happens, but it happens. And depending on your age, these animes will be completely different or completely the same as someone else's, depending on their age. For example, it's difficult to find someone at the time who knew Death Note but didn't know Code Geass or Steins Gate, even without watching or liking that type of story. When I was in school, one of those standard animes that everyone knew was Another, and the countless memes of the umbrella on the stairs. Me, who watched whatever shit put in front of me, I also memed Another, of course. My first online nickname was literally Misaki, can you believe it? But I never watched Another. Yeah, Another passed me by during its hype, and I just didn't watch it somehow. I personally don't really like horror stuff, gore with a lot of gratuitous violence and such. Anyone who's used to my videos know that I like the extreme opposite of that. So even with the memes, just knowing that the girl dies with her umbrella on the stairs, it was enough for the coward here to not want to come even close to watching. And with that, time went by, Another's highs started to fade away, until it reached a point where it really just disappeared. It's quite likely that there are people out there today who recognize the iconic eye patch and have no idea that it was popularized by Another, which is quite bizarre for me to think about, especially given the insane fame of this anime at the time. It was such a big story that I saw even people who barely watched these things talking about it. It was crazy, and now absolutely nobody talks about Another anymore. It's amazing how something so big one day is so small the next. I'm sure there are a lot of people, when they saw the title of the video and clicked on it, had a reaction like, Another, that's right, wow, there was an anime like that, right, and pulled out that memory from the back of the closet. But anyway, as I have never watched it, I don't know anything other than the staircase scene and Misaki. I don't even know exactly what the story is about, so now I'm going to stop here and watch. Let's see what's going to happen.
3, 2, 1.
The opening already sets a very tense atmosphere, huh? So Misaki is already dead, her sister, huh? But first of all, then, why does every little bird that speaks in animes from this era have this bizarre decrepit voice? I'm watching Bleach on the side for a video, and a cockatiel there says the same thing, in almost the same way, hideous. Well, a lot happens in the first episode, but in reality nothing happens. Sakakibara is the main character, and he's coming from Tokyo to the city of Yomiyama. But before going to school, things don't go very well, and he gets sick with pneumothorax, and spends some time in the hospital. Apart from this girl from his family, she is 14 years older than him, by the way. I know it's very clear that they are not the same age, but apart from her, everyone in this place is weird, and a bunch of assholes, to be honest. The boy hasn't even arrived, and has already gone straight to the hospital, and people are already looking at him weirdly. Poor man. But anyway, he then meets Misaki Mei at the hospital while she was going where? To the morgue. Look what a happy anime this is. Crazy. Time passes, and the only happy living being on that world is the main character's father, having the time of his life in India. The kid then goes to school. Nobody says a peep when he introduces himself. Everyone seems like they are dead, not just Mei. And look, he's there. This must be the room they mentioned at the beginning before the opening, but woof, now everyone is cool and acting normal for some reason. There are some people who look at him a little side-eyed there, but they seem okay. Everyone is really weird. Since I have no idea what's going on, the music here is doing its best to carry the atmosphere, because there is nothing happening. And how's the music on the back? Just bad vibes. Then they go to the physical education class and all. This scene. But in any case, the main character was not doing great a few days ago, so no running for him. He meets some people there and sees that people aren't very healthy either, and mentions Mei. The girl he was talking to shook at the foundations. Oh no, Mei's bad stuff. And right away she appears on the roof as if she's been summoned, and he instantly realizes that she is there and teleports up there too. The girl is another asshole too. She just responds weirdly. What's the problem with these people saying a sentence correctly? Hey, Sakakibara, didn't they tell you? No, tell me what? You will understand later. They didn't tell you, right? Tell me what? You understand later. Why don't you say to him now? From what I understood from what she said, room 3, in the year he's studying, is close to that. Because if she already died and she's still there, she must be wanting to pull the rest of the crowd with her, right? She probably was at the hospital the other day to see who she had killed, maybe, right? She must be the one who pushed the other on the stairs then.
Ruby's holding a gun.
Yes, a true erudite school. Where are the students playing the cello and drinking Earl Grey tea? And did he just straight up ask what her famous eye patch is? Do you want to know? Yes, that's why he's asking, so I'm not going to say it. Bruh, I'm going crazy with her conversations and it hasn't even been 2 episodes yet, but anyway, while she's messing with the main character in the library, this older guy appears, Chibiki. It's the first time that there's another person in Misaki's presence. Interesting what that means. She's not an entity then, but the guy doesn't even interact with her or anything, just Sakakibara, so it could be that for him, she didn't even exist there. There's no way to know yet. And the day goes by and we go to the house and this bird from the devil. He must have a hand in this whole weird thing, but anyway, apparently, the woman who seems to be the same age as the main one knows this Chibiki guy. If they tell me now that she is the same age as him and that they study together, she has aged really well, huh? Lucky. Now, it's a little hard to believe that he talked to her about the guy from the library, but didn't talk about Misaki. But right after that, he goes to the hospital again and asks the nurse if she knows the girl with the eye patch, and she didn't know either. So it doesn't seem like the whole city, it is just the people at the school who are weird for some reason. I do not know. Let's see. The next day, they keep looking weird at him, because it seems like this girl has seen him before, but she doesn't know where, and she has the duty to protect the class. I didn't even know that this was a position that existed for a student, but anyway, she's going to talk to the main character about what's going on, and of course, something happens that leaves him a nurse without knowing again. And this time he sees Misaki and has the good idea of stalking her around the city. The dude hasn't even been to the weird school for a month and he's already gotten weird too. She disappears. It's good that she managed to run away from a guy chasing her, right? But in reality, the story is trying to mean that she really just disappeared. He tries to look and finds nothing. Unintentionally, he finds the house of the famous Japanese YouTuber, but it turns out to be a doll store. The same ones that appear every time a scene changes just to give you a mini jump scare. At the moment, the nurse calls and pa, it's Misaki who really died. It's a moment that was supposed to be somewhat impactful, but they have already told us about this since the first episode, so it's only Sakakibara who's surprised. For some reason, he goes into the doll store, and there's a fucking underground in the concrete store full of dolls. I'm not going to talk about the bizarre old lady. There's an underground in the doll store, and down there is like this. Oh jeez, come on dude, leave, what are you doing? Oh no, see bro, go away, she's not talking, shit, it's going down. I know, it's not at all maze right there, but what the fuck is a human-sized doll in a coffin there? Whoa, she's going to take off her eye patch. I didn't understand anything about the conversation to have resulted in her wanting to show this, but okay, cool, the episode is over.
Dead on the ground.
She has heterochromia, but the green is a doll's eyes. Even though they throw on the screen all the time, I didn't expect such a big plot based on dolls. It's really a weird feeling, although until now, almost literally nothing happens. Just the little music that goes crazy on the back. It's kind of strange to see Misaki telling the story of Misaki, who died 26 years ago in the class of lunatics back then. And of course, they are interrupted again, and she doesn't continue the story. But another day passes, and after talking almost like normal people about where they are going to go through high school and so on, and it's raining and they are at school. Why they are paying so much attention to the umbrella? No. Ooh, they are already at the door. There's no more stairs to get through, right? Ooh, that's heavy shit. This moment was more tense than it should have been, probably just because I know what's going to happen, right? And it didn't happen now. She talks about Misaki and people get mad. During the conversation, they continue to show more stairs and she with this dangerously pointy umbrella. I don't remember exactly, but I think you can be sure that she's the one who dies, right? Apparently, Sakakibara only knows about what happened in the first year, and the teacher is part of this conspiracy. From what the girl with the umbrella said, I suspect that Room 3 has been living in a 1-year loop for 26 years. Will I get it right? And okay, his relative also already more or less know what's going on and won't say to him. And his mother was from Room 3 too. So everyone dies because of Room 3? Is that it? Get out! Little bird for hell! Out! Okay, the Misaki who died was the Misaki from Now's cousin, but it doesn't make much sense that Misaki from Now being over 26 years old. But okay, only Sakakibara can see Misaki from Now, and the thing is getting busy. No. Hey, drop the umbrella. No, stop running. What the fuck? Bruh, things went from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. I thought it wasn't going to happen in this episode anymore. What? That was hella graphic, holy. I didn't understand anything, but then this stuff is not me for real. I should have gone to see an anime with the characters assembly IKEA furniture or something like that. What I'm doing here? How intense.
4, 5, 6.
Alright, I didn't want to see the scene again at the beginning, but okay. There's a narration from 2 students from another classroom at the school about the incident, and we finally discover a little more of the story. The situation is that every month, someone in that classroom dies. Even the family is not safe. Sheesh. Now, this hasn't happened in the last year for some reason. Apparently, it must have happened a few times since what went down with cousin Misaki there 26 years ago. How does this situation happen? It every other year or I don't know. In this conversation at the hospital, I'm starting to connect things here. So could it be that in the first episode, Mei was visiting the first person who died in that year? And I don't think it's very cool that they are paying a lot of attention to the nurse, even though she's not a student. I like her and she's going to die, isn't she? It's always like this. Especially because after the talk in the cafe, she now knows more or less the whole story. And this asshole of a guy has the audacity to say that no one wants to tell him the rest of the story, being that he simply walked out of the conversation some of the times when someone was going to say to him, but right? Even though everyone more or less messed with him from the beginning about this, you can start to understand now why they didn't want to talk to him. You never know how someone will react to a weird situation. Poor girl I didn't even know existed, poor thing. She's already starting to get scared of her own shadow, but I still wanted to like Misaki more, you know. But this talk of her saying that he doesn't know and never saying anything to him to solve that makes it a little difficult to like her. Be careful, great! Of what? It would help a lot if you said what the dude had to be careful about, right? Yeah, the old receptionist said the same stuff when he entered the store this time. Yeah, she must be a doll too, right? And oh yeah, finally someone talking about the demon bird. And this Reiko is going to die too, there's no way. As I didn't know, I didn't expect something like this, but is it going to be one of those animes where literally everyone dies? Bro, I was just kidding.
There's no one left to say a prayer.
I'm still mad that the nurse died in the last episode. She was the only character that was any good. How sad. And man, when the only character that was established to have a serious health problem in the entire story is willing to answer what Sakakibara was wanting about the strange things going on, it was to be expected that he would go out on a body bag too, right? He's just talking about Mei or seeing her enough to make people die. Well, apart from that, it's amazing that Sakakibara Sakakibara has already witnessed 3 people dying in front of him, one of them by phone, but anyway, and he literally manages to go to school the next day, as well as if something as serious as that hadn't happened 3 times already. He's only bothered at the same level he already was because of the weird situation, where no one wants to talk to him, and now no one will talk to him at all, and are even ignoring his existence in the room. I see. Unexpectedly, this part of the doll store was cute. Having a resolution to something is already a good thing, right? And her smile was heartwarming. Not in the same way as the guy who died at the beginning of the episode, and she had an elevator in the house. So it's really the Japanese YouTubers are. But cool that Misaki from now is actually a person. I don't know if I would like very much if she were a ghost. Ooh, she's deaf in disguise. What? It doesn't explain why people die when they talk about her. Is it because if they talk about her they are recognizing that there is an extra student in the room? Is that it? Because every year there is always one of them who is someone who died the previous year but doesn't know. But if the records are inconsistent, it is really impossible to know who's repeating. And if the memories of the teachers, who are the only ones who would remember who's in the same year again, are changed, the situation really becomes tense. But it's just irresponsible for the damn school to maintain Room 3. Okay, they tried to change its place, the name didn't work, so like, disappear with Room 3, obliterated from existence. There are only rooms 1 and 2 now with more students. Good. Is there something stopping this from happening? Apparently not, right? But anyway, in this case, at the end of the day, Misaki Mei could still be a ghost, right? Not going to lie that at first I wasn't really liking the story. People dying brutally for no apparent reason. I don't know, characters leaving you in agony because they say they are going to do something and they don't do it. Nobody explains nothing even though they keep teasing you all the time. And on top of that, with a very standard character of a mysterious girl who speaks in an unusual way. Wow. I was thinking it was pretty mad, to tell the truth. The feeling of stories like this are pretty bad, and I'm certainly not the type of person who likes horror, suspense and all the things that are present in another. But now that everything that's going on has a north, a concrete reason in the story, that's what's happening. Now it's time to try and resolve it, instead of trying to impress you with random things. The story just got better, and I'm enjoying it a lot more. I'm starting to understand how it became so popular at the time. But anyway, in episode 6, nothing much impressive happens. They just keep talking, giving some information about what's going on to those who are watching, and for the first time, outside of the nurse of course, someone shows humanity in this series. Mei-chan and Sakakibara surprisingly start to act more normal when they are being ignored. It's sad, but it's cute to see. Yeah, it's cool. It's curious what his father said about him having gone to Yomiyama a year or so ago and he doesn't remember. The other girl at school probably saw him then. The story is trying to make us believe that Sakakibara is the impostor, but I still don't think so. Although the normal characters are a little too mad to be a dead person and have that impact when it's revealed, so I don't know. Right now, it kind of only makes sense to be him or Misaki, but let's see who will be developed from now on. And there's an information dump in the library with Shibiki, and with that we can understand more or less what the curse, black magic or whatever is going on in Room 3 consists of, but I don't really know what to think about this episode. At the same time, the story becomes interesting in relation to the first episodes, and it's good to know what exactly the story consists of, because until now it was a little difficult to care since you can't understand much. But also, what happened in this episode was a bit, here, take everything you need to know in just one little episode. I don't know, it was a bit, But let's continue. The end of this episode went from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds too. I thought he was going to pull an iron out of his suitcase, but it was a knife. I don't know what's worse. But after a peaceful episode just filled with information, that last scene seemed a little cheap to me. It was very, we need to scare those who watch, wow, here's a knife, instead of scaring you or whatever you are supposed to feel in a horror anime. But whatever. Will he catch someone or will he catapult himself? See you in the next episode of Inazuma 11. We interrupt this exhibition to say that thank you so much if you have made it this far in the video. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Our impending doom.
Man, at least he didn't take anyone with him, right? When the knife went flying there, I thought he was going to somehow end up on someone there and do a double kill. Why I'm laughing, bro? Graphic stuff. I don't like it. Feels bad. I'm glad I didn't see this at the time because I would have been traumatized. The guy could at least have done it somewhere else. He didn't need to do in front of everyone. Come on. No, dude. He did bad stuff in the house too. Screw this. I won't say anything else. It only gets worse. Yeah, these two, they are showing up a lot. I'm getting a little worried about them. It's as if they were preparing them both to die and give us a big impact when it happens. Shit, now I don't want anyone to be developed anymore. It's better for everyone to stay weird. They talk about the year that the calamity stopped halfway through. I don't know if I'm not getting something, but isn't it really obvious that it stopped because someone killed the impostor, since 2 people died on the same day and such, especially with what the guy at the bar said. Well, he probably did it, right? But anyway, I don't think Sakakibara will be the Shisha Janai, but in my opinion, Akazawa is very sus. Like, they are letting us be very suspicious of Sakakibara for not remembering going to Yomiyama a year ago, and also because he's the main character, we follow a lot the doubts he has, but my chips are on her for now. Wow, they are drawing a lot of attention to Akazawa and the fact that she might like Sakakibara, and Reiko really pulled the luck star there, bro. They could have popped the Euro Beast there, missed opportunity, but who would have thought a standard slice of life episode on the beach in one of these anime? If it was really going to happen, I thought it would only happen when they would go on the midterm trip, but no, it was right now. Matsunaga was working at a hotel and they needed to ask him what he remembered. Nothing big, just like Reiko, his memory was also messed with and they don't remember almost anything. But looks like they actually went to the shrine, put their hands together and I don't know, they didn't say because the animal decided he was going after a ball that flew 10 kilometers away in 2 seconds because of a gust of wind. Because it seems like there's always a death when 2 characters appears who are almost unimportant before. Going on a trip with them, you keep waiting the entire episode to see which one of them will go into the blender, and unfortunately this guy had a less well worked design than her, so poor man. And what a death. I think this one was goofier than the umbrella. What a trip. The guy actually died from a ball. At least an umbrella is somewhat dangerous, you can hit with it and stuff. Yeah, what I'm talking about, I'm a person who has already suffered a concussion due to a ball to the head and went blank for a few hours, so it's better not to say anything else. Balls are dangerous, yes, but also, I mean, people relaxed because they weren't in Yomiyama, but in theory they were supposed to know that leaving the city wouldn't work out very well, right? Because they went to ask Matsunaga on the premise that people died during the summer holidays, and if they were on a trip, they weren't on the city, right? No way. The Jinja they went to wasn't outside, it was in the city of Yomiyama itself, right? Yeah, then forget what I said there. Well, now it makes more sense that they let the guard down. Sorry, it's bullshit, right? Legal, did they expect that death would wait a few hours just to be more confusing? Then comes Chibi can say that there's no malice in the calamity in the other episode. Yeah, I believe that. I forgot to mention that the guy remembered what he left behind in the classroom. He didn't die because of the ball, he fell down the stairs, so that's why he was getting sick easily. Yeah, bad luck. So now, the objective has been updated, find what Matsunaga left behind, and as it has been 15 years, room 3 was in another building, and there they go. I don't want to tell anyone because I don't want anyone to die. First person who appears, so we are going to do this and this. And when they go to meet Mochizuki in the art room, Mei-chan is there too. She's conveniently everywhere. Will be this clear that she is the impostor? Nah. Finally, they find the room. It's all abandoned and full of stuff. It became a deposit for the rest of the school that has nothing to do with the curse. They go looking and almost die with a window pane and a cabinet falling down. But it's just to scare you. Ha! Scared? My bad. Mei is very cute when she's not scary, and they found it. A little package of drugs in the closet. When they open it, it's a tape. It's good that the anime was made in the middle of 2012, because at that time you could still find some stuff to play tapes. If it took a few more years, I doubt they would find something to listen to what Matsunaga left behind. And speaking of which, Curse of the 2010s, it exists here and it can be horrifying. Woo! But anyway, going back, they started listening to the tape and my internet started to go whack at the same time. Seriously, it was quite bizarre. But then when I got back to watch it, whenever another character from the class appears, other than the main ones we are following, we are supposed to expect them to die, right? Because it's been really like that. So when no one else shows up, it must be because one of the main characters is going to die, right? They prepared the two them well, but it was basically just these episodes, right? But feels bad all the same. The goodbye of the two in the rainy street hit me in the heart, but we'll talk about them later because the tape's still rolling. And the guy is explaining what happened. Basically, they went to the mountain, the Jinja was dirty, they cleaned it to see if it would solve it. It didn't. Ojin sent all his power at the boy with the umbrella and wow, he died. And they left him there, shit. They set off running in fear and the girl tried to do a Dark Souls roll and rolled off the cliff. Wow, died too. But then, when they arrived at the foot of the mountain, something important happened and for fuck's sake they ruined the tape. A truck with an excavator crashed into the house of one of them and the other, go give a jump scare to your mom. Episode 10, we are already on the final stretch, huh? And I thought it would take longer for this tape to be fixed, but the anime is ending, right? And it was right on the next episode, not bad. They listened to the rest of it when they were already on the mountain tour and dang, I got it right! Really, to stop the calamity, someone has to kill the impostor. So this is all just a game of TTT at school. Cool. Don't mind me, I really like to theorize things and try to find the crumbs that are left behind along the way, because it's really cool when it's right. But anyway, now is the real problem, right? If the dead person doesn't have anything different, doesn't know it's dead, and for everyone, including itself, is a normal person, even if you find it, how will you be so sure to do something as drastic as that? You would have to create an entire profile of the person, like talk to the father, mother, the entire family, everyone, and maybe not even that, right? And another thing, what if this information on the tape leak? Because it's not very difficult when we have these two loudmouths in the group, right? Everyone would go crazy, would happen a crazy RDM with people suspecting the wrong person and killing people who weren't the dead impostor. Shit will go down and Discord has already started. I don't blame Akazawa for saying some insensitive stuff, because from her perspective, she's already very suspicious of Sakakibaga and Misaki Mei, and for her maybe they really are the Shisha Janai, because with everything that has been happening this year, it doesn't make much sense for her to have met him before. But I think that unloading on Mei was more because she must envy both of them, I don't know. But a boy falls ill there, without a landline and without signal, there's no way to call an ambulance, so send him in the station wagon and go to the hospital. Of course, Chibiki has a brick Volvo, exactly the person I would think to drive that car. I have been in one before and it's really a uncle's car. Sorry if there's someone watching this who has one, but whatever. This asthma boy will probably survive just because he left. Sakakibara found the photo, and the impostor Misaki is all wrong and is obviously the dead one. So is that why they took the photo at the beginning of the episode? Because if it's that easy, they are just wasting time, right? And now I'm realizing that I got a lot confused at the beginning. Misaki Mei's cousin is another Misaki. She's not the Yomiyama Misaki from 26 years ago. There's a lot of Misaki in this story, so if this was a point I mentioned it back there that helped to say that Misaki was the impostor, in reality it isn't. And to make things even more confusing, the Misaki who has the name Misaki and not the surname Misaki is Misaki Mei's twin sister, not her cousin, and she was the first death of the year. Sheesh, what a complex mess. Now Mei pulls out the hair doll's eyes like a Sharingan. You are joking, right? So the girl has known who the extra student is for some time because of a different color and hasn't said anything. I will wait for the next episodes, but the situation with her eye is a bit okay. Did you really need this? Whoever made the story could very well have found a solution for the students to find the extra student without needing anything too supernatural, like what was going on with the photo there seconds before, but let's see what will happen. Another thing that I'm finding not very good is that now that things are being resolved and we are understanding more of what the story wants to tell, I'm starting to feel that the whole beginning there was a bit unnecessary. It kind of forced an idea that Misaki Mei was weird, not that she really was. I wonder if she's a ghost and look what she's talking about, what she's doing, and could have been done in a much more fluid and less in-your-face way. Because from the moment the story transitions from this idea of wanting to convey to those watching that Mei is a strange user in that world, to the idea that she is a person like any other, basically none of her quirkiness is pertinent and isn't even talked about anymore. She becomes a completely different, normal and cool character, totally different. She doesn't even speak in a codified way anymore. It's like she only did weird things when Sakakibara had no idea what was going on at school. Okay, maybe she acted like that because she was sad about being treated like someone who doesn't exist and so on, but I don't know. As the story progresses, I'm finding this situation a bit meh, and I think whoever made the story was also thinking this, because if you notice, those doll jump scares don't happen anymore, but whatever. If the story changed, it changed for the better, so it's fine. And now, bam, someone died in the hotel, and this guy that I never remember the name comes in and says he messed up. The guy already killed someone random. Yeah, everything and more happens here. It's going to be difficult for me to say anything, but well, first of all, the confusion over who Misaki is even bugged the casal. But one, the guy who they literally said his name and I already don't remember really did goof. He tried to kill his childhood friend straight up. He threw him out of the window, poor man, but he didn't die. Okay, two, they are going to check if the guy was really dead, but then Sakakibara hears something coming from the cafeteria, and before he opens it, they pull his foot, and it's another student who was stabbed but was alive. And when he goes to look at the cafeteria, the manager is there dead in a brutal brutality, as expected from this anime, right? And everything is on fire. 3. The thing turned into a hotel horror, and there's blood, people missing and screaming everywhere. And of course they have the brilliant idea of splitting up in all this chaos. Holy moly, there's even an old woman with a cleaver trying to kill people. They really didn't hold back from creating a hotel horror here. And the girl from the beach episode also went crazy. Yeah, the information about killing the impostor was leaked, and now it's pure battle royale. And it's incredible how no one has much of a reaction to the danger that's going on. They literally see a classmate try to kill one of them with a stake, and within 2 seconds of her giving up and walking away, they are sighing softly. Bruh, he recovered from being kicked in the balls in record time. The guy is amazing, really. But let's go back. They let the crazy girl go, and she goes and uses the intercom to release the tape for everyone to listen to. But instead of doing a battle royale, she targeted Mei. Come on, Mochizuki trolled. Why did you show the thing, dude? Now it's all out war. The teacher is the best character who doesn't fall into the litany of chaos, but takes a broom to the head and GG. It's a good thing that Sakakibara left all his inactivity in the past and took away all the rains that made him feel so calm so quickly, and he already went after the guy, throwing punches, running, kicking people to the side. This run was amazing, very cool. But the situation now is crazy. People sliding out of windows and falling on their heads, people exploding with compressed fire gas. It's a party to see how many creative deaths the author will be able to think of. Until now I haven't really understood how this death happened on the stairs, but at this rate there won't be anyone left. They will stop the calamity because everyone died, not because they found the dead person. And Sakakibara got hit in the arm and Mei left to go kill the dead person.
Something like this.
Different video. It was a pleasure talking to all of you about each episode of the series, and let's go to the end. There is still a lot to happen and just a few minutes to finish, so this episode will go crazy. Who's the extra student? The mess starts with people running to save themselves from the building going to hell, and out of nowhere a chandelier falls on the group. I almost choked, bro. They didn't die. It doesn't even seem like a few episodes ago I was outraged about people dying. But anyway, man, I'm not going to die, but Akazawa hitting Kazumi's head with a pipe was so good. Chibiki's arriving to save a group of people and not let them fall into madness anymore. Imagine if the dead person was the boy with the asthma that he had taken away. But he returned it with him to the hotel, so fuck the boy's asthma by the looks of it, right? Damn, this clash with Akazawa was too tense. Man, what a bad way to go, huh? Lightning with a window bursting. Feels bad, man. She was cool, so I was wrong. It wasn't her. It was... wait... What? Teacher Mikami was Reiko? What? Did I miss something? Since when? Boy, that's why everyone remembered that Sakakibara went to Yomiyama a year or so ago, and he didn't. How tense. But hey, who said that in the rule the teacher could be an extra too? Wasn't an extra student. It makes sense, but it was a low blow to be Reiko, right? There's no way she was on the radar of anyone who could be the extra. I didn't even know she was the teacher. I must have gone on a trip at some point, or they just didn't say. Even the hair color is different. But anyway, my final verdict. Wait, there's a post-credit scene, and they put a little tape on the closet again, and they are doing it even after seeing the chaos that knowing they have to kill the impostor causes. Yeah, they are seriously going to pass this on. Okay. Well, that was the end of another, an anime that I have heard so much over my years and had never seen. I didn't think it was bad, but there are also a lot of things that could have been much better. Several points in the story didn't seem like something very organic that was happening at the moment in the story, but rather that whoever created the entire world wanted it to be that way for one reason or another, to mislead you about a character, to make you suspect someone else and such. But the idea was great, only the execution lacked in some points, and you can more or less understand why it became so iconic at the time, and nowadays almost no one talks about it anymore. But how about you? What did you think? So many people had already watched it, so many people were like me until this video and had never watched it before. I think the perspective will be very different depending on when you watched it, because right, I'm coming here with a reality and a perspective very far from 2012, so whoever watched it at the time must have had a very interesting experience. If anyone wants to share, feel free to do so, because I would love to read it. See you later. For those who already knew the story, it must have been really stupid seeing me say a lot of wrong things.